Hey, what's up, Model Geeks? Hey, it's Brian, and we are doing a final on our Alwood Appreciation build. Um, we're working on the Matchbox 356 Speedster. And I think the differentiation between Speedster and anything else going on is that this is actually more of a race car than it is anything else. And that's been pretty apparent throughout this entire build. Like I'd mentioned in previous videos about how the interior was missing certain bits and stuff like that, which was fine. Once I realized that that's the way it's supposed to be, I was okay with not having to add extra things. Um, so we went ahead and added extra things. Chief among them, the wheels and tires. The wheels and tires that came with the kit were a little bit of a problem. I tried to work with them as best as I could. I just did not like how they looked. The tires were very, very wide. They did not fit with the wheel backs underneath the fenders. They did stick out some. Did not like that look. So we were lucky enough to have many years ago been gifted a Fujimi kit of a Porsche 356, and it had the wheels and tires in the kit. Everything else of interest had been pilfered out of the kit, but it still had the wheels and tires. So I went ahead and modified those as much as I could in order to get them to fit onto this little guy, and I really think it helped seal the deal. Now they might appear slightly oversized, and that's because they are 1/24 wheels and tires on a 1/25 kit, but I think it looks okay. The body was three separate pieces, I should say. The main body, and then on each side, this panel here was actually a separate piece that we had to glue on. That's okay. It's the old school way of doing things. I'd never done a kit with that type of thing going on. And now we know what to look for when we attack something else like that again. The glue joint was very nice, but it was very thin. I think in the future I would have actually gone back and braced that somehow with maybe some styrene straps that kind of came down from the top down, down through here. Um, Mostly because when we were trying to put the body on the chassis, we ended up cracking the fender right here. And that was a heartbreaking moment because when we heard that little snap, I was like, oh boy, my upper lip started to sweat, and I said all kinds of words, but apparently they weren't magic because they didn't fix anything. Um, and the engine bay is very cramped little space there, as one would expect with these guys. And I presume that when mechanics actually work on these in the real world, that they end up just dropping the engine out because apparently 4 bolts and the things on the ground, there is just basically no space in there at all to do anything, which is fine because the detail on the engine is a bit on the light side. And I decided to go with a gold anodized color for the top of the air cleaners there. I had a car that had that type of situation going on. I had a 1963 Corvair. I modified the carburetors, and I had gotten some custom air cleaners, and that was what they look like. So I thought that would be kind of a throwback to my own past there. Here we have our little aluminum exhaust tubies. We added those on there. I think they look pretty cool. I could argue that they're a little bit on the long side, but then again, they were cut for the length of if the car actually had a bumper on the back. So, it is what it is. The engine lid, no modifications needed. That thing fits on there really, really well. So much so that it's hard to get off. That's why we're showing it in situ with the lid off there. Another weird thing about the kit was it had a molding that went down the side of the car, which is very popular for, I think, the 56 models, and I think later on they deleted that. But the molding was it's supposed to run along this body line here over the top of the rear wheel arch, but this molding went right into the rear wheel arch. So we went ahead and removed it and puttied it and sanded and puttied and sanded and puttied and sanded. And then we realized that the rear wheel arch is radiused too much for the kit. So reducing that radius just seemed like an absolute nightmare. It is what it is. We went ahead and lived with it. That's another reason why we wanted to go to a little bit larger size wheel and tire, was to help fill up all that space. Because the wheels and tires that came with the kit looked like something off of Barney Rubble's car from the Flintstones. Damn near the best way I could describe that. There is a nice little piece of trim, chrome plated trim for the hood here. It's supposed to have a little handle on it and all that stuff. That's how the original one is. And the angle that this is molded in, I guess, I don't know, angle is the right word for it, but the curve that this is molded in isn't quite the curve that the hood is molded in. So trying to correct that was a little bit hairy, and we got it as close as we could by just sanding off the bottom of the molding until it fit flush against the hood. That was a little bit hairy, but we got it done. The decals that we see on here, the roundels, we found those in the decal bin. I had a TR3 Triumph TR3 Sportster that came with these number cards, and I did not want to put them on that, so I just saved them, and they came in handy for this, so they're perfect. I thought about doing the numbers on here, but then after seeing just the right circles, I thought it looked kind of cool. I mean, it looks like it could be sitting in the pits waiting for somebody to come and paint on the numbers for the race. You know, it hasn't had its number assignment yet. One awesome thing about Fujimi kits is they do crazy crap like this. I know a lot of other manufacturers do this too, but this is a bit of an older kit, so it's even cooler. There is a valve stem molded in right there. That is pretty nice. And the only thing we did with these is just do a Tamiya panel liner black wash on them. And I think they look legit. So there we have that. I was hoping to be able to mount the wheels and tires in a way where I could actually remove the wheels and the wheels if I wanted to, like have the car up on jack stands. But sadly, that did not come to fruition because we had to glue everything together in order to do our modifications and all that kind of stuff. So it is what it is. Again, the front hood fits really, really nicely. I think we can actually, well, we'll show you the interior first, and then we'll try tacking that on there. But I like doing the fuel tank in gloss black in contrast to the German gray that the interior is. And then we have our little tool pouch that we've pilfered from that Fujimi kit. And then I just love my green and white battery, so that's showing up kind of nice down there. But yeah, all in all, very well detailed kit for his age. And this issue is from 1992. But see there, that matches up pretty good. It looks all right. So this issue is from 1992, but I think the tooling, I had been talking to Sean over at Scale Model Car Guy channel. He and I had been talking back and forth about this particular build because he had done several of these himself. He had a lot of pictures to share with me, and they answered some questions about what I had about this kit. And he did a great job with his stuff, so it was very inspiring for me to be able to do mine. As I said before, the decals were junk, so we just used strips of masking tape and hit them with a black Sharpie to give us some electrical tape look or gaffer tape for the headlights, which is fine because the headlight mold is not very good. So the tape helps mask a lot of that, quite literally. So that's why they call it masking tape, guys. And then with these little bathtub guys, they're supposed to have a windshield frame. But on the racers, that's deleted, and they just have a bent piece of Perspex, I guess it is. And some of them have a little brace coming up through here in the front. I did not want to try and add that. That was getting a little too tricky for my tastes. But yeah, it was a fun little build. Interior wise, it was mostly covered up by the tonneau cover, and that's okay because there's nothing to look at in there, quite literally. I did add a little fire extinguisher from the Fujimi kit, and then up on the dashboard we have actual gauge decals. It's about as close as I can get there. And the gauge decals, funny enough, come from the same model kit that the roundels and numbers would have come from, that Triumph kit. So I don't know why I didn't put those in a Triumph kit, but it sure saved the day with this little guy. All right, boys and girls, we're getting kind of long in the tooth here, video-wise. So again, Mr. Al Wood, we really appreciate you, my friend, and Mrs. BG and I. We hope to get over to your side of the pond sometime in the next few years, and we really hope that maybe one day we can all sit together, have a pint at the local, and just chat about model building. All right, y'all, take it easy. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye now.